ones have been obviously the Strongman, which has just come two groups straight.
All right, we're back with another one of my interview series, except for we're going to do it a little bit different. I've already had Big Jim on here before, interviewed him, but this time we're going to go through and we're going to do a kind of reaction video to the Arnold Classic. Jim did a lot of real classic stone lifting. You did a lot of Atlas stone stuff too, did you not, Jim?
Yeah, Atlas stone and just river stone, odd stone, all of it.
That's what I thought. So he's somebody who's not been, yeah. He's somebody who's not been keeping up with Strongman for a good while now, some of the new guys. But at the Arnold Classic this year, for several years, but they've done the stone to shoulder medley, and it's a lot of natural stones and things like that. So I wanted him to go ahead and watch that with me and give a reaction video to that. So with that, we'll get rolling with it. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, let's get to it. So it's going to share this. It's going to look like a crazy screen for just a second. Okay. And Jim, you got that good on your side too, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here we are. We're starting off with it. This is the stone medley. So basically what they're going to do in this event, I'll give you a little bit. I'll speed it up for how we're going to do it, but it's a several implement series. The first thing you have to do is you have to take this stone. It's a natural stone, and they got to press it over their head, okay? And then the second event, okay, so there you go. They got this stone over here all the way to your left of your screen. They got to press that overhead. Then they got to go all the way over to the right of your screen and lift this natural stone over that post. And then at the very end, they've got a natural stone shoulder to load. So this first one, here's the weights of the stones. They got to press a 300-pound stone. They got to take a 365-pound stone, put it over that post. And then that 410-pound stone, they got to put it on their shoulder. So, and there's no tacky allowed in this event.
So the 365 is going over the bar?
Yeah. Yep. And there's no, it's not, you can see they're roundish, but they're more like the river stones you're talking about. So right
that's
here.
That's 300 right there?
That's 300.
Good night. I've done that with a 200-pound stone, round stone, but that is insane.
Well, I'm telling you right now, this event, it really separated the men from the boys, and it major. I mean, this guy, he was invite. I think he either won the amateur or something like that. He was a special invite. So this is his first appearance here. You know, he's never done this event. So this guy, if I'm not mistaken, he spends up his whole time trying to do that event. But when you look at, go ahead.
In my era, when they did stone press overhead, it was square or rectangle stones. They were real stones, but you had something to shove against. It's rounded. His hands can slip off at any second. The people don't understand how incredibly, not just the weight, but in how incredibly difficult that is, and unsafe actually.
Well, yeah, because it comes. See, he's done with it. I mean, it comes down to like you said, your hand slipping, but it's a major balance that you see. You look at him there; he's looking at his bicep. I mean, who knows what that even did to get him there? Now, there's some really. I mean, they had some awesome competitors this year at it. I mean, it was absolutely incredible who they had. And this event, like I said, it really showed some of people's abilities. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the next guy, okay, Alexei Novikov. This guy here has been an absolute legend. Okay, he's won World's Strongest Man in 2020. Yeah, he's super good. He's really just so fast too. He's just unbelievable what he can do. But again, I'm not sure if he's in this show. I don't think he was at his best shape, but that was a beautiful clean.
Did they count that?
Okay. So, for example, on this event, they get you have a little bit of a soft lockout
Yeah.
because they had tried to have really strict judging, okay, and I appreciate that, like for the axle, but on this event, because of how that stone is so slick, they pretty much give you. See, when he popped it up that first shot right there, they're calling that a
That's
lockout, just
yeah.
because to put it all the way through and to get your head through, if it slips and comes down on your head, he can't get away from that.
No, and if you try to lock the elbows, the way your hands are, when you lock your elbows, your hands come apart. Actually,
Exactly.
a little bit.
So what do you think on that? You think that's a pretty fair lockout for that as far as it goes, even for safety?
For safety, they wouldn't have counted it in my day, though.
Sure.
They say
Yeah.
nope, but we had square stones. We didn't lift round stones overhead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, it is an implement series. Really, the crazy part about this whole event is that first stone is really supposed to kind of be doable so you can move on
right,
to the
that's like the warm up kind of. That's the this is
kind
three.
of.
Is this 365?
Yes. And
Oh,
see how
you
he
see him
tapped
touch
his.
his bicep? You see that?
Yep. Yep. And that's exactly what he said afterwards. He said he had a partial bicep tear. So really, the fact that he pressed that stone was really pretty darn good,
No,
actually.
no tacky is impressive too.
Yeah, they're allowed to have that little thing called a tactile. See it on his belt hanging.
Yeah,
It's
tactile.
not. Yeah, it's not really tacky. See, that looked better from that angle, didn't it? That looked a lot closer. It came
Yeah,
back.
I think he locked it, but for a split second. It definitely
Yeah.
wasn't held at
Oh,
full lock.
no. No, it wasn't held under control, absolutely not,
No.
but, I mean, for that
Hey,
event, I'll give
right.
it that.
For the type of stone being used, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so these guys here just running down the list, that guy on the bottom, Mitchell Hooper, have you heard of him?
Yeah.
Man, that
I've
guy
heard
has just
most of these guys.
yeah, he has taken just everything by storm. He's honestly just he's such an athlete,
Is
man.
that the guy that just won it?
Yeah, yeah, he just
Didn't he
won
just
this.
win Worlds?
Yeah, he did last year. And there's old Martins, the
Yeah.
dragon. He's good. I met
The
him before.
was he on an insurance commercial or something? Smashing boxes with trash cans. Have you seen that?
I'm sure, yeah. Yeah, he's had a good career too. He's unfortunately I watched the thing he said on this show. He was pretty I gotta skip this, but on this show he was pretty injured, pretty gassed out on it. But I mean, like I said, he's had a heck of a career, which I'm not writing him off, but okay. Like he's somebody in the past who really could have done this event too. He's so good at stone
Mhm.
lifting. His pressing's not the best, but it's definitely competitive, you know?
Mhm.
See, look, you can just see him. He's not his stability, and that I mean, man, he is way back too.
Yeah. He's doing a
His
bench
posi-
press while standing up.
but you know what? His position to me looks a lot better.
Yeah. See them guys behind him. They're like they're ready to roll up on him because they're waiting for him to fall with
Dropping
the
on
stone in
his
his
face.
chest.
Yeah.
I watched a guy do that in a competition once, not from standing, but from loading up on a high wall, and it fell on him. He fell back, and it fell right on his chest.
What did it do to him?
Nothing. Unbelievably, it just hit his chest and rolled off.
That's crazy. You know, you think about that. How in the world? Because I mean, even if it's in the 200s, that's so much weight
Oh,
to
it was
come
over
down.
3. It was I think it was at the one professional show I did it. If I'm not mistaken, his last name was Wozolowski. I could be wrong.
What do you think, Jim? Is he going to hit this after that many attempts?
I wouldn't say so. He's blown his. I mean, unless some divine intervention here.
What was your when you competed, Jim? What was your approach to something like that? If you felt like you went and hit it hard, were you a person that would just keep trying till the whistle blew, or would you say, okay, that's it, that's done, I gotta save it because I'm not going to get that?
If I knew my mind wasn't focused and I wasn't set up right on my first one, I'd definitely go in there and get it again. I've did quite a few lifts where I missed the first one and just like rebooted myself and did it. But if I gave it one or two good tries, you're wasting your time and energy after that for
That's
the next
that's what
event,
I feel. You know, there's a point to
especially on something like this.
exactly. Yeah. there is a point to being a warrior and never quitting, but there's also a point to having common sense and knowing when to move on, because you're not going to get it and you're just going to sit there and gas yourself. And honestly, people love to see it, but in my opinion, it kind of gets to where you don't even look like a professional after a little bit. You just look like you're just desperate.
And it's messing with your chances for the other events. You're not
That's
just
the biggest thing.
you're not just wasting yourself trying to lift it overhead. Every time he has to pick it back up, he's expending energy. He's expending muscle strength. He's expending all that.
Absolutely.
I'd say 2 tries, and unless you really knew you messed up on both, I'd say 2 tries and call it a day.
I agree. I mean, and yeah, I agree. Well, have you heard of this guy at all, Bobby Thompson?
No.
Bobby Thompson had the log record, the American log press record. I think he still has it. It's something crazy, like
Oh.
478 pounds. He's lost a lot of weight since then, but he's still so strong overhead somehow. I met him in 2021 or 2022 at a show I did in Roanoke. Now this guy here, man. This guy is so strong. He can just strict press 400-pound log, and everybody in the commentaries, they couldn't believe that he struggled with that because
that just goes to show the difficulty of it.
Yeah, he statically, Jim, one of the strongest. Probably statically, he was the strongest presser there. Like if you said strict press as an event, he would have won that year, like no doubt. But like he struggled.
Right, he could strict press 100 and almost 200 pounds more than that rock. But he can't press that rock. What's that tell you about how difficult the difficulty is by trying to press a roundish stone?
Yeah. See, he just threw it up like a basketball there.
Yeah, but he can't. That's because he's afraid. It's his hands. It's your hands. It's your grip on the stone. You feel like you're going to lose it.
Exactly. Now, if you're him right now, Jim, and you know you've got that much strength, but you're struggling that hard, what do you do? I mean, this is kind of the last event. I mean, what do you do even as a competitor?
Is this the last event?
Yeah, this is towards the end of it, I think. I think this is the last event, actually.
If this is the very last event, then I would change my opinion on the whole thing. You just do it till you're dead. Just till you can't even pick it up to your chest anymore. You keep trying. If you got more events after this, no, that'd be a huge mistake.
Okay, then that's exactly where it's at because it's event 5. It's the last one. It's the boom.
See,
they gave it to him, and
he locked it, but it rolled. Now wait a minute, he lost control right before the lockout. Look,
let's see.
Right now is he locked out? He's still got control. Is he locked out?
I mean, I'm going to give it to him, especially in that event.
All right, but look how quickly.
Oh, it rolls.
He does not have control there.
No way.
It's gravity. Gravity has control over there.
Yep.
I'll say he locked it out for a nanosecond.
Yeah, for that event, and as far as it goes, his elbows were definitely farther than the other guy. I mean, there's no doubt. But I mean, it's just one of those events. I don't think anybody, when we go through this whole show, I don't think anybody locked it out perfect.
No.
Now let's look at him here. Let's see what he does. He's a shorter one in comparison. I still think he's 6 foot tall, but
he looks like Robert Oberst, which used to have the American log press record.
He does. It's a crazy thing.
Like a shorter brother.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, he does. He looks so much like him.
No, he's done.
Yeah,
he's winded. Look at him. He can't even breathe.
Yeah,
he's gassed.
I mean, that stone took so much out of him. I mean, you talk about when you would sneak down there and take those river stones. I mean, that right there is probably very similar feel. That one in the middle, wait till you see that one in the middle, whoever everybody gets to it. It is.
Now, what does that guy do with that? Shoulder it?
Yes. Okay. Now, this guy, have you ever heard of him? Mateusz Kieliszkowski, surely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Polish Terminator. He started out competing against Brian Shaw and half.
He started young. Arnold. I remember when he first started.
21 years old, yes.
And always did well at stones, didn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah. He had some injuries there, but man, when he's on form at this show, he keeps saying, I'm getting back to form at this show. He said total capacity, he was not on form yet, but he said on some things he felt he was. Well, let's watch and see what he does here. He's
real quick.
Yeah.
Did you see how he went and set up all the stones?
That was what they were saying. The confidence when he
Did
walked
they
out.
give them the opportunity to look and feel the stones before this competition so they could
Oh
know
yeah.
just how they wanted them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And they even let all the other athletes, if they wanted to, go mess with it. And that's what the announcers were laughing at when I watched this before. They said, look at him. They said when he first walked out here, he walked straight to that middle stone. He's so confident that he's going to get
Well,
it.
he's going to get to it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So let's watch and see what he does here. This guy for a long time has probably been one of my top favorites. I don't have any trait that is like him at all. He's like 6'5" and long, but he's just such a warrior. Here we go. Awesome. One motioned it.
Look at that.
And that
Now,
was
they better give him that. If they let all the others, they better give him that.
yeah.
He lost his footing, not the press, but
Well, I mean, that's the thing. He tried to recontrol it once he was at the top,
yeah.
and once he got the down signal,
Look at
look at that. Look how he looked. The other guys couldn't even pick it up.
Like
He just
looked like he just picked up a box of clothes or something. Here you go. You need these.
unbelievable. I mean, now this stone here, Jim, this is 410 pounds. Natural stone, no tacky, nothing.
Yeah. I've done a 400 for loading, but it was on the back of a flatbed, not shouldering.
Look at how smooth that stone is, too, though.
Yeah, that's like a river stone. That's definitely like a river stone.
That's exactly what it is. Look at that. Look at his technique.
Yep, rolled it. He kept contact with it the whole time. Look at that.
I
That's
mean,
a dominating performance.
I mean that right there.
Was that Thor's fanboys in the front?
Yes.
Even they were clapping.
Yeah, because they're in all of it. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. Thor's coming up. Thor still has to come up in this, and so does Tom Stoltman and Mitchell Hooper. So you still got 3 great competitors coming.
Oh yeah.
So here he goes again. I mean, when he did this before, it was just this event. They added 2 other things to slow you down. So I mean, the fact he's still look, little more, but he still got that technique. Bam.
Look at that.
Man,
Now, do you have to put your hand down on your leg to show you control it with one hand? Is that one,
you have to take? You don't have to put it on your leg, but you have to take it from your body. You have to take it. I mean, sorry, you have to take it off
away from the stone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now he's somebody too, man, he's just always disappointed in himself, and he's got, he just always expects the absolute best, always wants more. But this performance, I mean, for him, it's probably one of the most emotions he's ever hardly shown. I mean, because he needed a big performance here for this show.
Mm-hmm.
So
what's incredible is you're saying this is the last event, so these guys have already done grueling things all day long, and then they got to do this
for 2 days. I think this show is a 2-day show, 2-day show. Yeah. Man, we'll have to watch and do a video of the axle for reps. That was a real big one.
Is this for reps?
Yeah, this is in time limit.
Oh, I thought it was one and done, and it was time.
No, he's got 75 seconds. It counts for total lifts. So right there with
he's
that,
gonna drop it off the back. There you go.
Boom.
He did that because he knows nobody's doing it 5 times.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and flex because no one's gonna do it 5 times.
Yep. And you know what? That's some serious confidence in that too, because he's still got Thor and Tom Stoltman to come, and even Mitch Hooper. I mean, that right there was absolutely incredible. I mean, when you see some of the top level guys that are struggling so hard with that, and he literally just dominated it like that, that was really incredible.
Confidence is a great thing till it makes you look like a fool.
Yep. Isn't that the truth?
I used to write Hallmark cards.
Yeah. That was before or after Pep Boys.
In between that and working at the prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was strong.
That's awesome.
That was really strong. All right, now we got Big Tom Stoltman. Look at his frame.
I'd shoot him.
I wouldn't even
mess with him. I wouldn't even mess with him. I wouldn't even shoot him with a pistol. I'd have to shoot him with a shotgun. How do you fool with a guy that big?
I mean, look at him walking by the judges. I mean, he is just – and, Jim, he's not just big and slow. He's like – when you watch him and what he is capable of, he's when he's on form, he's just one of those guys who is just like, I mean, he shouldn't be able to axle press for reps, the world record. He shouldn't be pressing a 210 log. He shouldn't be. I mean, but he does all this stuff. He's incredible.
Yeah, he's impressive. He's one of the ones that's impressed me out of all the new ones.
I agree.
Look at that. Oh, he handled that the whole way.
Yeah, he
He
did.
handled that all the way up and almost controlled, put it back down.
Yeah,
Watch how he presses it and he's holding it.
I mean, that right there, that is the best lockout that anybody did.
Remember what I told you right there? Hold that. You remember what I told you when we were competing? How strict it was. We called it ears to elbows. Your ears should be in line with your elbows, and that was considered a full strict press. And if you didn't do that, no lift. That's perfect.
I mean, that right there, honest to goodness, that was the textbook lift on that event right there.
Yeah. That's the only one I've seen so far, him and the other guy, that I would have said good lift.
Yep, I agree.
Now watch him throw this like he's playing basketball. Doesn't he have the world record in this?
The Atlas stone. It's a little different. Yeah. He had to relap it. He didn't throw it quite as much as Mateus did there.
We see his hand slipped off.
Well, and you can say something too, Jim. When you got that tacky in his build, he's built the best for Atlas stones, no doubt. But like, there is a level of gripping it when you look, there's a smooth stone. You saw how Mateus got it, and he was able to grip on that smooth stone and pull it just even regardless with tacky or not. Tom is somebody who's got enough power to get that stone to his shoulder, but you can see here he can't grip the thing. And I mean, he's trying to get a spot on that thing where he can go. You can watch his right hand here when he starts to pick it up. I can't remember. See how it slid off there? You'll see it again, but you'll see his hand when he gets on it. It's the stone starts to move, and his hand is just sliding the whole time. See, there you go. He felt it in his bicep. He's done.
Yep.
Would you have expected Tom Stoltman to not been able to do that stone?
Maybe you got a point. Maybe he has the physical strength, but maybe not quite the grip.
Yeah. Well, if you were going to say Tom Stoltman had any weakness, it would definitely be the grip. I mean, he's struggled with the timber frame carry in the past as well. I mean, who am I to say he's got a weakness at all? But I'm just saying, if you want to, if you want to call it a weakness, I mean, we just saw what Mateus did there. I mean, his press was phenomenal. That was strong.
He said the best press so far.
Agreed. Now this right here, you kept up with it too. You watched it when Thor tore his pec not that terribly long ago. I think it was six months or so before this show. So on this show, his deadlift was great. He has phenomenal grip strength out of nowhere. He's always struggled in the past with his frame carries, and he placed extremely high this year with it. I mean, his grip was strong, and he said his grip was something that actually turned into a strong suit for him, but his pec still messed him up on the press for the axle, which we might have to do a review video of that too.
What's your thoughts on him from going from world's strongest man and being probably one of the biggest men to walk the face of the earth, going down to 300 pounds and having the boxing match with Eddie, and now turning back into that man again? Do you think that hurt him getting basically losing 100 pounds and then going back up? Or do you think maybe that helped him? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it depends because strongman is eras. You can look back to your strongman days and the era of how it was. And then you can look where the push went. You had the Big Z, the Brian Shaw era, and Thor grew it with that, and Eddie had to catch with that. And then you went back kind of down to your speed a little more. You had Alexei Novikov win it, and now you've got
Marius was all speed,
Yeah, and you've got Mitchell Hooper now, who is not quite the strongest. I wouldn't say that, but he's really strong. He's really fast. So Thor to go up against him now and these guys, what they're doing now, speed was going to have to be inevitable. So in my opinion, I think some of that size was going to have to come off. It's just going to be pending to see, because in this show, Thor did awesome in 2 or 3 events,
But he put a lot of it back on. Is what I'm saying. He was shredded. I mean,
Oh yeah,
shredded at like 320 pounds, whatever he was when he went to box,
yeah,
and now he's back to his bloated strongman form. I don't mean that as a disrespect. It's just
sure.
the shape. And I don't know. I was just wondering if losing that much and then putting it back on, did he lose any static strength? Was really my question.
Sorry, yeah, for right now, 100%. I think his
Yeah.
deadlift. If you look at his deadlift, I did a video on that today. His deadlift technique changed by losing some of that static strength. His
Hmm.
stance came in narrower, and he actually became better technically. He became
Okay.
even a better technical deadlifter. I'll have that video up later, but
Well, how old
uh,
is he now?
huh?
How old is he now?
Is he 35?
I'm not sure. So he's got time.
Yeah, he's
He's
only
got
about.
at least if he's 35, he's got at least 3 good years to make it happen.
Absolutely. Honest to goodness, Jim, what I think's getting ready to happen with Thor. I don't know what he'll do in strongman as far as against these guys. I'm not going to put my money on and say 100% he's coming back and going to beat Tom. He's coming
Mhm.
back going to beat Mitch. I don't really know that that's true because they're like so good right now, but I think Thor is going to come back and he's going to take the deadlift record and push it farther. That's what I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I think 100% he's getting ready to come back and he's going to really take that farther. Let's see what he does here. I hate to even this
Yeah,
event.
don't bet on it because you still owe me a pizza from Brian Shaw.
Yeah, I do. But I'm telling you, he's going to take that one. I'll give him that. Now
All right.
he's he's big. He's not as big as he was. He's pretty big, but you know what? His coach and everybody said they really were nervous for him this weekend with the pressing because they said since that pec tear, they said that has really been something he has struggled to get back to.
Well, dude, that's basically almost the incline press. The way he's arched back like that is
Exactly.
just without the support.
Yeah, and if you just kind of tore your pec several months ago, I think he just dumped it.
Yeah,
If you just tore your pec, I think that would be a little bit
yeah.
of a
You know,
challenge.
if he's not in contention with winning right now, if this is the last event and he's not set up to be the winner, I don't even know I'd take the chance.
Uh,
You know,
well, I think in this show, I think at this point he was definitely in contention to podium. I know Tom was in major contention for it, and when Tom couldn't lift that stone to shoulder and Mateus won, it
Mhm.
actually made Mateus get second place and Tom dropped to third. I think Thor, if he could have got to that over the post, I think he would have been third place in this show. So yeah, he needed this press big time. He went
Okay.
from like second and third place down to fourth, I think. He knows it right
Okay.
there. He knows it. He didn't have it.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That second try. You don't get it on your second try. You need to know your limits. What's he
And
doing now?
he's firing up for it. You're right. He did. He knows he doesn't have it, but this is an all out
He's
Hail
got it.
Mary to get on the podium. Clean. I mean, he's manhandled the
Oh,
stone.
like it's nothing.
It's
He's
just the
right
press.
there. It's halfway up. What about you think he's not explosive enough? Do you think he's trying to be too like not popping it quick enough? Right there.
Yeah.
It's
I
almost
mean,
like if he had that momentum to just from here to boom, you know.
well, watching him press in the past, his drive and stuff was always slow and things like that, but he always had the power to push through it. It just looks like to me he just after that pec tear. I mean, when he got it there, there's nowhere to run with it. You have to finish that press out, and it
Which
died
side is the pec tear on?
on the side that he keeps dropping the stone, the left.
On his left side. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where he
Let's see if
tore it
I
at.
see it. Yeah, you can see it's struggling. That's what's
Yeah.
struggling. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he knows right there he's disappointed, but in my opinion, his first show back and prepping for it so fast, I mean, he did things that show that he couldn't have done at full prime. Like when he won the Arnold Classic his last year where he won everything in 2018, he didn't do the timber frame carry. This year he blitzed it. So like he was in first and then second and third. I mean, he was in great positions throughout the whole show. It's just, I mean, let's be honest, a pec tear serious. You had one, Jim.
Yeah, yeah. It pec tear, ripped my bicep off. I mean, it's scary because when you go, like when I went into therapy afterwards, I literally
Sure.
had to start with a 5 pound plate in each hand. And he
And
said he wanted it to what do you call it? He said if I didn't work out, it would cross um, your what do you call it? Scar tissue would cross each other, and then you would lose mobility. But you can't strain it either. So I think after so many days, I had to start with a 5 pound plate and do chest presses. And I think I cried when I could do 135 again because I was just like not cried because I was so weak, but cried like, oh, I can lift again. Um, I went up over 405 again after that, but that was it. I never tried to go any further because my goal was 500 and I never made it. Um,
yeah,
but after that, I ripped it on 475. After that, you're scared.
yeah,
It's in your head. You're scared. Um, that's like when I went to take those stones to your pop ups. Um, I had a baby Husafeld stone. It was 275, like a warm up one, and it was after I ripped off my bicep, and it was a complete rupture. And it was probably a year after the rupture, but I was scared to pick up that stone. Like I knew I could do it, but I'm just like the whole time I'm lifting it real slow. I'm like, is it going to rip? Is it going to rip? Is it going to rip? Because that really
yeah.
set me back. I mean, it set me back in life. It set me back in work. It did a lot.
It
It's
costs it costs a lot when you get hurt like that, doesn't it?
yeah, and it has a devastating mental effect on you if you're going to continue in the sport. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean, you talk about battling back and stuff, and you talk about your experience when you got to 135, crying like, man, I actually just what it meant to you,
yeah.
looking at some of what these guys do. It's good. I'm glad I had you on for that because it's a good perspective because to think that Thor had that bad. I mean, he had a serious pec tear. It was
Hmm.
really serious.
Yeah.
And to come back and actually be able to perform so well. And, he still in the axle was able to press it one time. And I mean,
Hmm.
that still was decent enough points. So I mean, that's a really good perspective to have. This, I don't know. It's just harder. People can look at it and say, "Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?" But if you've never done it and you've never experienced that, you really
Hmm.
don't know what you're talking about.
Did his require surgery?
Yeah,
Yeah, see, my obviously my bicep went all the way up into my shoulder. They had to reattach it, but the pec, I think he said it was only a 15 or 20%. It wasn't enough for surgery, so it healed on its own.
is
So if it
ripped
required surgery, that's pretty significant.
is ripped off the bone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was serious.
It
All
don't
right,
feel good. I've ripped a lot of stuff. It don't feel good.
no, I'd say not.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hit back to here. Now this is last year's champ. This guy, he really just is incredible. He's just I really he's one of those guys I met
This Mr. Hooper,
2022.
right?
Yeah, I met him 2022 at OSG Worlds, and then he was there again this year, which it was funny when I did my frame carry and my Denny Stone walk, and I made it across there in a good time. I screamed and freaked out and jumped up and down, and he just started laughing because he was one of the guys on the end carrying his stuff back and forth, and I mean, I was
Mhm.
right there in front of him. That was great.
Oh, you got him hyped up. That's all. You just got him
Yeah.
excited.
He's a pretty decent dude, I think, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's somebody that does that incline bench
That
press
look
on
at
the
that.
log.
Did it count it?
They counted
Oh.
it because they count everybody. What's your thoughts on this?
Okay. He cleaned it with power, like he was, picking up a bag of groceries. And he locked it. He is locked out, but
But
his
that
head
head
is
never
nowhere.
came
Yeah,
through.
he did it. He did not do an overhead stone press. He did it. He did an incline bench press stone press.
Jim,
His head is not
that's
through.
that's something that even Zadrunas with him is didn't like. So when Zadrunas judged him for doing the log,
Mm-hmm.
he changed how he did it when Mitch Hooper, when he does the log, he takes it and he takes that thing and he leans all the way back like an incline bench press and locks it like
Mm-hmm.
this, and he looks at the judge like that. The head doesn't come through, and he's got a ton of down signals from it, and it was controversy, and a lot of people were really mad online, and he made a video about it. He said, look, I understand what you all are saying. He said, but when I go through and do it, he said, they say you have to look at the judge, and the judge gives me a down signal. He said, if the judge gives me a down signal, I don't care. I'm not changing that. But
true. Very true. I'm not going to either, but it's just, it don't make it right.
No. When Zadrunas does it, Zadrunas had him do it here, and he made him come through every time. And he did do it, but it wasn't – he didn't have – it affected his performance. He didn't have that same pop,
Dude, I preach it and preach it and preach it, ears to elbows. I keep saying ears to elbows. Your ears should be in line with your elbows.
That's the only way to make it.
That's not an overhead press.
No, that's the only way to make it fair.
Away from him. I mean, he's manhandling the stuff like it's nothing, but no, that's not an overhead press. That's an overhead or inclined stone lift, whatever you want to call it.
All right. So
now, how would you feel? How would you feel if you lost this event and you did a clean press and this dude beat you? How would that make you feel?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would, and yeah, absolutely, you'd hate it.
Yeah.
If it was consistent and they would give me a quick down one, I wouldn't care. But if it wasn't, like you were talking about that one time where a guy was pumping half reps and you're doing full ears to elbows, that would. Now look at this. I want to talk about this too. He just called Arnold up there to come watch him do it. He's manhandled all these stones. Now this is that river stone. We obviously see how good he is, how good Tom Stoltman is, and watch him try to do this. Look at his hands. They just keep sliding. And he just got Arnold out of his seat to go watch it.
Yeah, I got something to say about that. I'm glad I said it. Now pause this real quick. So if you rewind this, whatever you call this thing, this podcast, whatever, I'm too old. If you rewind this thing we're doing, you'll hear me say confidence is great until it makes you look like a fool.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've watched this. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
This dude is so confident. He goes to the crowd. Hey, Arnold, come watch this, buddy.
Yeah.
Arnold gets his walker and gets, and he can't even lift it.
Yeah.
Confidence is great till it makes you look like a fool. I'm calling Hallmark tomorrow. I'm phrasing that.
I'm going to use that as a highlight when I do when I put this on Instagram to advertise for this video. I'm going to use that as the caption.
That's beautiful.
So he knows he doesn't have it. He didn't need to do it anyway. He won the show, but he said something. He made a comment there like, "Oh, other than looking like a fool," he said, "Sorry, Arnold," but he still won the show. So
he won the show.
He won the whole show. Yeah, he
is that Mark Henry next to him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. He dominated that entire show. It was incredible. So that's the end of that pretty much. So out of watching that whole video, what are your thoughts on that event? Some of the things with that, things you like, things you didn't like, performances. What you got on that?
I would say, okay, I didn't like the fact that every single stone overhead press that was given the down signal, in my personal experience from what we had to do back in the day, none of them were except one. And that was, who was that? Tom Stoltman that did the perfect one. The other guy, what's his name from Poland? I forget his name.
Mateus.
He semi-locked it out, but it wasn't because he couldn't do it. It was just because it started rolling out. I have 100% confidence if they said no lift, he could have grabbed it, picked it, and redid it just as good as Stoltman did. It just happened to slip out of his hands. But they gave him a down signal. But besides those two, I didn't see anybody lock that stone out properly. And I understand because of safety. I mean, maybe next time give him a block stone. If you look at the 90s World's Strongest Men, where they were lifting stones, maybe some of the 90s, where they were lifting the stones over their head, they were rectangles.
Yep.
But they were heavy. So listen, instead of 300 pounds, make it 350 pounds, but make it a block stone.
Give them a block press.
Yeah. Other than that, man, what's his name again?
Mateus.
I'm so old. His performance is unbelievable. I mean, it just, especially shouldering that boom, one right after the other. He was definitely dominant. in that event?
Well, I think the crazy thing about him and what people don't understand too on that event, they just look at it and they see people struggle. Why can't he do it? And then somebody do it and they're like, oh, great, that was a great performance. But when you really think about that, think about a 410-pound deadlift. I mean, for most people, that's challenging. And it's with a bar, perfect strap, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. But it's challenging for most population. 405 is a lot. 410. Okay.
Yeah.
Then think about taking just something that you can even get a good grip around and then taking it and putting it on your shoulder at that weight. And then add on top of that a stone being completely smooth. I didn't respect that event when he first did it several years ago. I didn't fully get it or respect it until I started making some stuff. I made a block press like you're talking, but when I did it, I put it in one of those I took one of those, just a regular container, a plastic bin container, and put the amount of concrete I wanted in it. And then I had ran a buffer on the thing. So that concrete had the smoothness of what that container was. It was so slick. And when I had to start cleaning it and even doing a block press with it, it was so hard because it's so slick. Even if you put chalk or however you want to do it, there's just no texture on that to grip. And that's pretty much what that stone is. So, I mean,
how much, what did you say his name is, Mateus? What's his max deadlift? Do you know, roughly?
Okay. He's somebody that's been back and forth with his deadlift. Consistently, his best that he usually pulls and can pull in a contest is 400 kilograms, 881 pounds. His best ever that he's done was 420 kilograms. So, like, what is that? Like 926, something like that?
Yeah.
Which that would be good. If he could pull 420 consistently, that would be good. But he's only done that once.
So that goes back to the different kinds of strengths. You got static strength, you got explosive strength, you've got weightlifting strength, where you're a power lifter or Olympic lifter, and then you've got farm strength. The one year I did several shows in Roanoke, but this was no, it wasn't Roanoke, Norfolk. Which one's the closer one to me? That's Norfolk, Virginia, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I did several there. It was Roanoke that we went to, and they had a river stone, and it was the last stone. It was several objects that we had to just pick up and throw in a truck body. And the last one was a 400-pound river stone, and it looked like that thing. And I picked it. I think it was one that me and I think Johnny Perry was at that one. I think me and him were the only ones that loaded that last stone, and he was worlds ahead of me. He shouldn't have been there. Anyway, it was amateur only, and he took first prize, took my cash money. But anyway, great dude. But anyway, what I'm getting at is my max deadlift at the time wasn't even 600 pounds. I had a terrible day. I ruined my knee at 16. So I was basically competing with one toothpick leg and one normal leg, but I still competed. But my max deadlift, I think, was 575, and the most I ever did with tanks was 630. It's just a little easier when they're on your sides instead of in front of you. But what I'm getting at is that stone was not far off my max deadlift. So to be able to just grab that with no handles, no whatever, just grab it and throw it on a truck body, that's the difference between farm strength and just having that static powerlifting type strength. And with that dude, Mateus, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's statically not strong. I'm saying he has an ungodly ability of just ridiculous farm strength where he can just grab anything.
I couldn't have said that any better. Just like you said there, to be, even for you, to be able to pick up such a ridiculous implement and pick it up, there's no question about it. That is true functional. That is strong. That is strength. If I got to take somebody to work with me, do I want the guy who can actually pick something up perfectly if he gets, or do I want the guy who can just put something on the back of the truck? In my opinion, what's stronger? I'm going to say that every single time. I mean, there's guys there that could have beat Mateus in deadlift, but that's the crazy thing about the sport. What is always fascinating to me about it is, where is the disconnect in somebody like yourself or even like Mateus, as good as he is, I mean, really his deadlift has still been great if he could do it consistently. But like where's the disconnect for not being able to transfer that stone where it's even lower to the ground and you
Yeah,
can't get yourself in the position of a deadlift?
it's I don't get it. Delaware's strongest man. I won it one time. And this is back in my era. This is the late '90s and the very early 2000s. And I got second place. First year I got third, and then I got second to this dude named Walt Gagola, which I like, but he irritated me because he beat me every year. But anyway, the one year he doesn't show up. One year I came close. I missed it by I think 2 seconds on one event that split us. But anyway, one year I was going to win. I was all set up. I was going to win, and I was 1 point ahead of this dude, John Petrazak, I think his name was. Really cool dude, too. So they said, all right, the next event is the max deadlift, and we're going to open at 600. I couldn't max deadlift. I knew I couldn't. And I'm 1 point ahead of this guy, so I know if he does it and I don't, and one other person in the middle does it, I lose, he wins. So I walked up to him. I shook his hand. He was my frame, my size. Could have been twin brothers. Shook his hand. I said, hey, man, congratulations. You won. You won the Delaware Strongest Man. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, I can't deadlift 600. He goes, neither can I. And we were both big, strong, farm, functional, strong dudes. He couldn't either. We both got down and tried with everything we had. I couldn't get off the floor. The promoter was laughing at us. Like, how can you guys be this big and this strong and could do all this stuff, but you can't deadlift 600 pounds?
To me, I can't even almost grasp that. I mean, your best bench is I mean, it's really close to 500 pounds. And
Yeah.
To me, I just can't even grasp that because I'm nowhere near a 500-pound bench. And to think even, my little frame, pulling 600 pounds, I mean, you have to. Like, it's just, I just think it's so crazy.
I don't get it. I mean, I was in the mid 300s on my log press. I mean, shoulder press in the gym, tire flip. We had dudes that were 900 pound deadlifters, and I would rock them on the tire flip, regardless of how heavy the tire was. Just destroy them. Go figure. I just go figure. I don't know.
Well, we'll wrap this video up, but just to kind of put that's probably one of the best ways we could have ended it. So that's what makes Strongman so incredible, and that's what makes people. That's what I have come to find. Of the people I've been interviewing on this channel, and what I'm doing with that too, and listening to people's stories. Some guys have won by just being absolutely brutally strong. I mean, just you look at that dude and you can listen what they do. Like a guy I had on here, Richard Stout. He's somebody. His numbers that he was able to do for the past 14 years have just blew my mind. I mean, pulling 700 plus pounds on an actual deadlift. I mean, pushing log press. I mean, insane numbers. And then you got guys who've never been close to that number, and they were able to reach it. And it's just somehow, some way, when you compete and when you do things, some guys find a way to come out, and other guys, it's just Strongman. That's what makes the sport the sport.
Well, how about your guy? What was his name? That's got the USA record on shoulder press. What, 478, 475? Would you say he could?
Robert Oberst, yeah.
No, not
Robert Oberst. Bobby Thompson.
Robert Oberst's little brother.
Yeah.
That stone is literally almost 200 pounds lighter than his max press, and look at how he struggled. That goes from weightlifting bar strength to weird strength. No, who I didn't give you a chance. Who impressed you in that? Who impressed you? Who impressed you the least? Who let you down the most? And who impressed you the most?
Well, I mean, to say who's the most shocking that didn't do the best was 100% Tom Stoltman. I mean, Tom Stoltman, he's just, Bill Kazmaier talked about Brian Shaw at one point, I think, being the evolution of Strongman. And I agreed with that when he came out 100%. But I mean, Tom Stoltman is kind of going another level with that, and the point that he can move really fast and everything else. I mean, that was an event that you just wouldn't see Tom really losing. If you just guessed it, you wouldn't have saw him losing that, because just he's got a 630 or no, 660 some pound Atlas stone he picked up, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's insane. That's over 260 pounds heavier than that, 250 pounds heavier than that stone. So like you'd be like, well, he has tacky. Well, so what? I mean, the tacky, you take away tacky, surely he still should be able to lift 250 pounds less than that. But
Yeah.
it just goes to show that's just kind of the sport of strongman. I think we need to do another video and react to some of the other events in this show, because I think overall in that whole show, that guy Mitch Hooper, he's somebody who's just found a way to always win. Alexei Novikov was that way too, but the problem with him is, he's a smaller frame. He only weighs 300 pounds, and these
Mhm.
weights that he has to do all the time in contest, they've really, they've ate him alive really with his body, with what he's got to do, and he's battling a lot of injuries. So I mean, there's a lot of favorites to have, but I don't know. I think Mitch Hooper impressed me in that event. 100% Mateus. He's probably one of my favorite strongmen of
Yeah.
all time. Anyway, so
Yeah.
that was my favorite for sure.
Maybe that's something we could talk about one day, is the evolution of the sport. You said he's a small frame and he's only 300 pounds. In my day, I was an amateur, but in my day, even in the professionals, 300 pounds was a big, like Bill Kazmaier was one of the hugest guys, unless they were excessively fat. And he was, in the
330.
330, something like that,
Yep.
where now, if you're 330 pounds and the world's strongest man, they're looking at you like, well, did you bring your big brother?
Yep.
Like it's little. So
Yep.
maybe
Yep.
that's a good topic we could discuss one day.
For sure. And when we do that, we need to get into even talking about, official strongman games and the weight classes and how they've been able to implement that, because it's kind of funny too. They always talk about, people around here that I know that are talking about, oh yeah, I'm having a guy on who's the world's strongest man. And they're like, world's strongest man, or just weight class world's strongest man. And I just look at them, I'm like, I mean,
Yeah, because when I competed, world's strongest man was world's strongest man. There was no when I competed, there was no weight class, and then
sure.
after that, they started under or over 200 pounds, which made it fair. And now you got what, every 30 pounds? I'm not sure how it goes.
About 25. I mean, because I'm 175, really 176. The next weight class is 198. After 198 goes 231. 231 it goes to blah, 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 or maybe it's in that range. It's in that range.
Nice. Yeah, because right before I stopped, they and I should have stopped a couple years when I got to do the professional show in 02 as a fill-in. I should have stopped. I should have said, this is the best I'm ever going to get with what I'm willing to do. And
sure.
I didn't. But right at my last year, they opened up a middleweight class. So they had over 200, or 200 and under, 200 to 250, or 201 to 250, and then 251 unlimited.
Sure.
I could have actually dieted down because I was like around 280. I could have dieted down. I had fat on me, that I could have lost. If I went in there shredded like a bodybuilder, but kept my strength, not even like a bodybuilder, just like a fit guy, I could have competed in the 250 class.
Well, and it's just how the sport's grown. But I look at it, I absolutely love the way they've grown the sport. And they've got good guys like Lynn. He's the guy who's over OSG and has promoted all this. When you look at fighting and boxers or UFC fighters, and this, they got featherweights all the way up to heavyweights. The featherweight has sacrificed and given everything he could do, but it doesn't matter if you put him up against a heavyweight. It doesn't matter how technical he is, how fast he is. You're going to get knocked out. It doesn't matter how good I get. At 5'7", 5'8", you put me up against a Brian Shaw, I'm not going to win that. But you still love strongman, and how it's evolved with the sport like that. I think it has grown the sport tremendously. I love the weight class strongman stuff now too, especially because it's exciting. If you like watching fighting, sometimes the big class, that's a big deal of it. But man, some of those smaller guys, they put on a really good show and what they can do. And strongman, it's done that, and the way it's headed with that, I really like that side of it as well.
That's perfect, because if you look at UFC or boxing or any of that, everybody wants to see the heavyweights. That's what everybody's into. But sometimes they're slow and sometimes they're boring. But if you want to watch a fight that will just keep your eyes glued on that screen, watch the featherweights or the lightweights, because they are so fast. They don't tire. And they actually, in my opinion, put on the better show. You just don't see the knockouts where the guy's unconscious and his legs bent around his head and they're calm. And that's why people want to see that. But no, very good point. They put on a better show.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of think Strongman for a lot of years it kind of was stuck, and I think when Lynn and them came up with these ideas, and when Lynn took over, he just put the sport in a really good position. I think he's added. I mean, when you've got over 400 some athletes, and you got 40 guys competing, and it's so tight in this weight class, and then you got 30, 40. I mean, it makes a fun show. So we'll end this show and video here. But Jim, also, since we got talking about that too, you're going to come with me to my next time I go to Worlds or one of these. You're going to be there.
If my wife retires and I got the freedom to leave, I am there. I don't care if it's in another country. We'll go there and have a blast.
That sounds good. Well, Jim, thank you very much for coming on. And anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No.
All right. Well, we'll get back and we'll do another one of these. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like. And as always, more content to come. Thanks.